the waters were divided. People of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, the waters being a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. And the psalmist says, "When the waters saw you, O God, they were afraid. Indeed, the deep trembled. The clouds poured out water. The crash of your thunder was in the whirlwind. Your lightnings lighted up the world, and the earth trembled and shook. Your way was through the sea, your path through the great waters."
When we look at the structure of the Gulf of Aqaba, the distance between the hypothesized crossing point and the shore of Arabia is about 9.7 miles. The problem is it's about 2,800 feet deep in the middle.
Mm-hmm. And that's the big problem. I mean, people do not see this as a possibility. A lot of people just think this is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's an impossibility. Some investigators have said there's a land bridge in here. That's not true. There's no land bridge at 2,800 feet underwater. What there is in the midpoint is a plateau from north to south.
Because these areas here are cavernous. I mean,
yeah, you can see this dropping off steeply here, dropping off steeply here, but there's a plateau that if there was a path through the sea at this point, the path could be several miles wide and still accommodate a footing that could be managed by the multitude. So I envision if there was a crossing here that it could have been a pathway in the sea almost as wide as this beachhead.
Mm-hmm. And which is, how wide is this?
This is about 5 miles wide here. The area is about 8 square miles.
Mm-hmm.
But this plateau is evident at this scale of investigation. We don't have real good bathymetry data of the Gulf.
Mm-hmm.
We have general data of it, so we can't draw a lot of very specific conclusions, but we do know it's about 2,800 feet deep.
And bathymetry means the depth, right?
Yes, bathymetry is analogous to topography.
Mm-hmm.
It's the topography of the underwater seafloor is called bathymetry.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this is a bathymetry chart of the Gulf of Aqaba in the area of Nuweiba. I call it a depth profile. Each one of these lines is a contour line separated by 100 meters. So this is 500 meters deep, this is 1,000 meters deep, and this is a bathymetric representation.
I once had Dr. Phillips say, not even God can part water that deep.
I look at even what people would say the smallest miracle as being totally miraculous. People try to grade miracles. That's a small miracle, that's a big miracle, that's a really big miracle. But in the end result, any miracle is impossible to explain. And I don't think you can grade this as too great a miracle to be a miracle or to happen.
I'll tell you, I did grade it when I was standing there at Nuweiba, and I stood there on the shoreline, and for the first time I said, if it happened here, this was spectacular. I mean, the possibility of seeing this much water move, walls of water to the left and to the right, and people going in. I mean, and the cloud that would be, keeping the Egyptians from coming. I mean, the whole thing was just, I don't know what you would call it. It was just amazing what the sight would have been.
It's inexplicable, and I've had the same feeling looking from that shore on both sides, that it's not that wide, and there's a lot of other places in the world where the water's deeper, but the fact that it happened at all and happened there is just hard to comprehend the power and the strength, the energy release that would be required to create a path in that part of the sea.
Right. So what do you have here?
So what I've done here is laid out the slope that would have been encountered going down and up within this path in the sea. And this is to scale horizontally and vertically. And so going down, we're talking about 10.5% slope, 6-degree average, and it's a little steeper going up, average 13% to 7.4 degrees. Again, this is to scale, and this is based on the best bathymetry data we have, which goes way back to 2000. To put this in perspective, a maximum grade on an interstate highway is 6 to 7 degrees. The downslope here was 6, the upslope here was 7.4. A wheelchair ramp, 7.125 degrees. In the national park slope constructions, for a sustained slope in urban or rural, they recommend no more than 10%. In a primitive setting, they recommend no more than 15%. So these grades fall within those recommendations and experiences of daily life that we're familiar with.
And that's basically been a criticism of this location, because other people have said, oh, you can't get through there, it's just a big chasm. But that's not true then.
It's not true if we take the data that we have and we do slope calculations. This is what you wind up with. If you just take the center point and do a slope calculation from the center point to the shoreline from a depth of 2,800 feet, you'll come up with a slope of 10 or 11%. And I mean, that's just the way it calculates out.
Okay, so just imagine what this would have looked like if you were, if this happened the way the Bible says. This is all water. I mean, this would be so spectacular if you saw, that water just staying there, walking into it, and, going through, because it would take you 9 miles. It would take you some time to hike that.
Yes.
Right?
And I've thought about what it would be like to have been in that multitude. First of all, it's nighttime. They're being led by a pillar of fire, so they have some light. But if this path is 3, 4, 5 miles wide, you might not be really aware of how high or how far that wall of water was from your position. I mean, think about looking 2.5, 3 miles in the distance in dark. It would be hard to really estimate the immensity of what you were seeing. And so we have factors here with some light, we have the slope, we have the walls of water, we have potentially a very wide path. And I don't think a lot of the people really perceived what was going on because of those conditions. And certainly the Egyptians didn't, because they went right in. After the cloud was lifted, they went right in like it was part of the shoreline. And they didn't halt. They went forward, so they were not aware of the dimensions of what they were entering either. Now, I did some other profiles of the floor of the sea for comparison. This one we just talked about was at Nuweiba. These profiles are not to scale from vertical to horizontal, they're schematic only. Looking at the Aragonese Deep farther south, you can see how the slopes become much greater.
So you could never get up this here. You could never get up over here.
Yeah, by comparison here. And then here at Dahab, where you do have a small beachhead, you have similar problems here. And then the Straits of Tiran are not as deep as these other places, but it's like a roller coaster ride to get through some of these slopes. And this has been popularized as a potential crossing site, but when you look at the 30 to 40% slopes that are encountered in the channel area, you wouldn't be able to hike that unless there was a geological miracle that leveled the land.
Was there coral there before? Maybe they were walking across the coral bridge?
Coral only grows to certain depths, and so it's not universally across the bottom.
Coral couldn't have connected between there, and people walked down a coral bridge?
Well, for 750 feet deep, 750 feet depth of coral? No. No, this is deep water. It's still deep, but it also has steep slopes. So the point I'm making here is that any place in the Gulf, if there was a crossing, if the water was removed, this gives you the best opportunity to have navigable slopes for a passage. There are no other places that give you this. So I can lead you to this sea, call it Yam Suf, and I can show you that if it was crossed, that the only place that is really permits the passage of a multitude would be here at Nuweiba. But then it's up to you to say, well, God couldn't do that, or it didn't happen. But we're just talking about
Or that God did do it,
yeah,
and it did happen.
We're talking about the location, the conditions. We're presenting these data for you to consider, and then I can't explain the metaphysical. But the Bible is full of the metaphysical. The Bible is full of the miraculous, full of the unexplained.